Joshua 1. And it came to pass after the death of Moses the servant of the Lord, that the Lord spake unto Joshua the son of Nun, Moses' servant, saying, Moses my servant is dead. Now therefore, arise, cross this Jordan, you and all this people, into the land that I am giving to the children of Israel. Every place where the sole of your foot treads, I will give to the descendants of Israel. From the desert and Lebanon to the great river, the river Euphrates, all the land of the Hittites, and to the great sea towards the setting of the sun, shall be your boundary. No one will be able to resist you all the days of your life. As I was with Moses, so will I be with you. I will not leave you nor forsake you. Strive, and be of good courage, for thou shalt cause this people to inherit the land which I swore to their fathers to give them. Only be strong and of good courage, to be careful to do according to all the law that my servant Moses commanded you. Do not deviate from it either to the right or to the left, so that you may prudently conduct yourself wherever you go. Let not this book of this law depart from your mouth, rather meditate on it day and night, that you may be careful to do according to all that is written in it, for then shalt thou make thy way prosperous, and thou shalt have success. Didn't I send you? Strive, and be of good courage, fear not, nor be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Then Joshua commanded the princes of the people, saying, Pass through the midst of the camp, and command the people, saying, Provide yourselves with food, for within 3 days you shall pass over this Jordan, that you may go in to possess the land which the Lord your God is giving you to possess. And Joshua spoke to the Reubenites, and to the Gadites, and to the half-tribe of Manasseh, saying, Remember the word which Moses, the servant of the Lord, commanded you, saying, The Lord your God gives you rest, and has given you this land. Your wives, your little ones, and your livestock, stay in the land that Moses gave you on this side of the Jordan, but you shall pass before your brethren armed, all the mighty, and help them. Until the Lord gives rest to your brethren as he has given you, and they also possess the land which the Lord your God is giving them, then shall ye return to the land of your inheritance, and possess that which Moses the servant of the Lord gave you on this side Jordan toward the rising of the sun. Then they answered Joshua, saying, All that you commanded us we will do, and wherever you send us we will go. As we listened to Moses in everything, so will we listen to you, only the Lord your God be with you, as he was with Moses. Every man who rebels against your orders and does not listen to your words and all that you command him shall die. Just make the effort, and be of good cheer. Joshua 2. And Joshua the son of Nun sent 2 men secretly from Shittim to spy out, saying, Go and survey the land in Jericho. So they went and entered the house of a prostitute woman, whose name was Rahab, and slept there. Then it was reported to the king of Jericho, saying, Behold, men of the children of Israel came here this night to spy out the land. Therefore the king of Jericho sent and said to Rahab, Take away the men who have come to you and entered your house, for they have come to spy out all the land. But that woman took the 2 men, and hid them, and said, It is true that men came to me, but I did not know where they were from. And it came to pass, when the door was shut, and it was already dark, that those men went out. I don't know where those men went, go after them quickly, because you will overtake them. But she had brought them up to the roof, and had hidden them among the flax stalks, which she had set in order on the roof. And those men went after them by the way of Jordan, to the fords, and when they had gone out, the door was closed. And before they slept, she went up to them on the roof. And she said unto the men, I know that the Lord hath given you this land, and that the dread of you is fallen upon us, and that all the inhabitants of the land faint before you. For we have heard how the Lord dried up the waters of the Red Sea before you when you came out of Egypt, and what you did to the 2 kings of the Amorites, Sihon and Og, who were beyond Jordan, whom you destroyed. When we heard it, our heart fainted, and no one else has any courage because of your presence, for the Lord your God is God in heaven above and on earth beneath. Now therefore, swear to me, I pray, by the Lord, that as I have shown mercy to you, that you also will show mercy to my father's house, and give me a sure sign. That you will save my father and mother and my brothers and sisters with their lives, with all that they have, and that you will save our lives from death. Then those men answered him, "Our life will answer for yours until death, if you do not denounce this business of ours." So she let them down by a rope through the window, because her house was on the wall of the city, and she lived on the wall. And she said to them, "Go to the mountain, lest perchance the pursuers find you, and hide yourselves there 3 days, until the pursuers return, and then go your way." And those men said to him, "We will be released from this oath that you made us swear. Behold, when we come into the land, thou shalt tie this cord of scarlet thread to the window through which thou hast let us down, and thou shalt bring thy father, and thy mother, and thy brethren, and all thy father's household into thy house with thee. So it shall come to pass, that whosoever goeth out of the door of thy house, his blood shall be on his own head, and we shall be innocent, but whoever is with you in the house, his blood be on our head, if anyone lays a hand on him. However, if you denounce this business of ours, we will be released from the oath you made us swear." And she said, "According to your words, so be it." So she fired them, and they are gone, and she tied the scarlet cord to the window. So they went and came to the mountain, and they stayed there 3 days, until the pursuers returned, because the pursuers looked for them all the way, but did not find them. So those 2 men returned, and went down from the mountain, and passed over, and came to Joshua the son of Nun, and told him all that had befallen them. And they said to Joshua, "Surely the Lord has given the whole land into our hand, for even all the inhabitants are afraid of us." Joshua 3. So Joshua rose early in the morning, and they departed from Shittim, he and all the children of Israel, and they came as far as Jordan, and stayed there before they crossed over. And it came to pass at the end of 3 days, that the officers passed through the midst of the camp. And they commanded the people, saying, "When you see the ark of the covenant of the Lord your God, and the Levite priests carry it, you also shall depart from your place, and follow it. Let there be, however, between you and her, a distance of 2,000 cubits, and do not come near to it, so that you may know the way by which you must go, for you have never passed this way before." Joshua also said to the people, "Sanctify yourselves, for tomorrow the Lord will do wonders among you." And Joshua spake unto the priests, saying, "Lift up the ark of the covenant, and go over before this people." So they lifted up the ark of the covenant and went on ahead of the people. And the Lord said to Joshua, "Today I will begin to magnify you in the eyes of all Israel, that they may know that as I was with Moses, so I will be with you. You shall therefore command the priests who carry the ark of the covenant, saying, When you come to the waters of the Jordan, you shall stop there." And Joshua said unto the children of Israel, "Come near hither, and hear the words of the Lord your God." And Joshua said, "By this ye shall know that the living God is among you, and that he will certainly drive out from before you the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Hivites, and the Perizzites, and the Girgashites, and the Amorites, and the Jebusites. Behold, the ark of the covenant of the Lord of all the earth passes over Jordan before you. So now take 12 men from the tribes of Israel, 1 man from each tribe. For it shall come to pass, as soon as the soles of the feet of the priests, who bear the ark of the Lord of the whole earth, shall rest in the waters of Jordan, then shall the waters of Jordan be divided, and the waters that come from above will stop piled up." And it came to pass, when the people departed from their tents to cross Jordan, that the priests carried the ark of the covenant before the people. And when those who carried the ark came to Jordan, and their feet were wet at the edge of the waters, for Jordan overflowed all its banks all the days of harvest, the waters, which came from above, were stopped. They stood up in a heap, far from the city of Adam, which is beside Zarethan, and those that went down to the sea of the plains, which is the salt sea, were completely separated, so the people passed over in front of Jericho. But the priests, who carried the ark of the covenant of the Lord, stood firm on dry ground in the middle of the Jordan, and all Israel passed on dry land, until all the people had finished crossing the Jordan. Joshua 4. It came to pass, when all the people had finished crossing Jordan, that the Lord spoke to Joshua, saying, "Take from the people 12 men, from each tribe 1 man. And command them, saying, Take away from here, out of the midst of Jordan, from the place where the feet of the priests stood, 12 stones, and take them with you to the other side and deposit them in the lodging where you will spend the night. So Joshua called the 12 men whom he had chosen from the children of Israel, from each tribe 1 man. And Joshua said unto them, Go over before the ark of the Lord your God into the midst of Jordan, and each one lift a stone on his shoulder, according to the number of the tribes of the children of Israel. That this may be a sign among you, and when your children in the future ask, saying, What mean these stones? Then you shall tell them that the waters of Jordan were cut off before the ark of the covenant of the Lord. As she passed over Jordan, the waters of Jordan were divided, so these stones will be for a memorial to the children of Israel forever. So the children of Israel did as Joshua had commanded, and set up 12 stones from the midst of Jordan, as the Lord had said to Joshua, according to the number of the tribes of the children of Israel, and they took them with them to the lodging, and deposited them there. Joshua also set up 12 stones in the midst of Jordan, at the place where the feet of the priests who carried the ark of the covenant had stood, and there they are to this day. So the priests who carried the ark stood upright in the midst of Jordan, until all that the Lord commanded Joshua to say to the people, according to all that Moses had commanded Joshua, was accomplished, and the people hastened, and passed over. And it came to pass, when all the people had passed over, that the ark of the Lord passed over, and the priests, in the sight of the people. And the children of Reuben, and the children of Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh passed over, armed before the children of Israel, as Moses had spoken to them. About 40,000 men of war, armed, passed before the Lord for battle, to the plains of Jericho. On that day the Lord magnified Joshua in the sight of all Israel, and they feared him, as they had feared Moses, all the days of his life. So the Lord spoke to Joshua, saying, Command the priests who carry the ark of the testimony to go up from the Jordan. And Joshua commanded the priests, saying, Go up from Jordan. And it came to pass, as the priests, who carried the ark of the covenant of the Lord, went up from the midst of Jordan, and the soles of the priests' feet were put on dry ground, the waters of Jordan returned to their place, and flowed, as before, over all its banks. So the people went up from Jordan on the 10th day of the first month, and they lodged in Gilgal, on the east side of Jericho. And the 12 stones, which they had taken from Jordan, Joshua set up at Gilgal. And he spake unto the children of Israel, saying, When in the future your children shall ask their fathers, saying, What mean these stones? You shall let your children know, saying, Israel crossed over this Jordan on dry ground. For the Lord your God dried up the waters of the Jordan before you until you passed over, as the Lord your God did to the Red Sea, which he dried up before us until we crossed over. That all the peoples of the earth may know the hand of the Lord, which is mighty, so that you may fear the Lord your God always. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our channel, leave your like, and make a comment. Josué 5. And it came to pass, when all the kings of the Amorites who dwelt on this side Jordan westward, and all the kings of the Canaanites who were by the sea, heard that the Lord had dried up the waters of Jordan from before the children of Israel, until they passed over, their heart fainted, and there was no courage in them any more, because of the children of Israel. At that time the Lord said to Joshua, Make flint knives, and circumcise the children of Israel a second time. Then Joshua made himself flint knives, and circumcised the children of Israel in the mount of the foreskins. And this was the reason why Joshua circumcised them. All the people who came out of Egypt, the men, all the men of war, had already died in the desert, by the way, after they left Egypt. For all the people who went out were circumcised, but none of those born in the wilderness by the way after they left Egypt had they been circumcised. For 40 years the children of Israel walked in the wilderness, until all the nation, the men of war, who came out of Egypt, and did not obey the voice of the Lord, was exhausted, to whom the Lord had sworn that he would not let them see the land which the Lord had sworn to their fathers to give us, land flowing with milk and honey. But in his place he put his sons, these Joshua circumcised, because they were uncircumcised, because they had not circumcised them on the way. And it came to pass, when they had finished circumcising the whole nation, that they stayed in their place in the camp until they were healed. The Lord said to Joshua, Today I have taken away the reproach of Egypt from you, therefore the name of that place has been called Gilgal to this day. So when the children of Israel were encamped in Gilgal, they kept the Passover on the 14th day of the month, at evening, on the plains of Jericho. And the next day after the Passover, that same day, they ate of the fruit of the land, unleavened bread, and roasted ears of corn. And the manna ceased the next day, after they had eaten of the fruit of the land, and the children of Israel had no more manna, but in the same year they ate of the fruits of the land of Canaan. And it came to pass, as Joshua was near Jericho, that he lifted up his eyes and looked, and, behold, a man stood before him, having a drawn sword in his hand. And Joshua came near to him, and said unto him, Art thou for us, or for our enemies? And he said, No, but now I come as prince of the Lord's host. Then Joshua fell on his face to the ground and worshipped him, and said to him, What does my Lord say to his servant? Then said the prince of the host of the Lord to Joshua, Remove the shoes from your feet, for the place where you are standing is holy. And Joshua did so. Josué 6. Now Jericho was strictly closed because of the children of Israel, no one left or entered. Then said the Lord to Joshua, See, I have given into your hand Jericho, its king and its mighty men. So you, all the men of war, will surround the city, siege at once, so shall you do for 6 days. And 7 priests shall carry 7 horns of ram's horns before the ark, and on the 7th day you shall go around the city 7 times, and the priests shall blow the horns. And it shall come to pass, when the ram's horn is sounded for a long time, and you hear the sound thereof, that all the people shall shout with a great shout, and the wall of the city will fall down, and the people will climb over it, each one forward. Then Joshua, son of Nun, called the priests and said to them, Take the ark of the covenant, and 7 priests carry 7 horns of ram's horns before the ark of the Lord. And he said to the people, Go through and surround the city, and whoever is armed, let him go before the ark of the Lord. And so it was, as Joshua had told the people, that the 7 priests, bearing the 7 ram's horns before the Lord, passed by and blew the horns, and the ark of the covenant of the Lord followed them. And the armed men went before the priests, who blew the horns, and the rear followed after the ark, walking and blowing the horns went the priests. But Joshua had commanded the people, saying, Ye shall not cry out, nor make your voice heard, nor shall any word come out of your mouth, until the day that I say unto you, Shout. Then you will scream. And he made the ark of the Lord go around the city, going around at once, and they entered the camp, and spent the night there. Then Joshua rose early in the morning, and the priests carried the ark of the Lord. And the 7 priests, who bore the 7 horns of ram's horns, before the ark of the Lord, walked and blew the horns, and the armed men went before them, and the rear guard followed behind the ark of the Lord. The priests were walking and blowing the horns. So they circled the city again on the 2nd day and returned to the camp, and so they did 6 days. And it came to pass on the 7th day, that they rose early in the morning, and likewise went around the city 7 times. That day they went around the city only 7 times. And it came to pass, when the priests blew the trumpets for the 7th time, Joshua said to the people, Shout, for the Lord has given you the city. But the city shall be accursed to the Lord, it and all that is in it. Only the harlot Rahab will live, she and all who are with her in the house, because he hid the messengers we sent. Only beware of the accursed thing, lest you touch or take anything from it, and thus make the camp of Israel accursed, and trouble it. But all silver and gold and vessels of metal and iron are consecrated to the Lord, will go into the Lord's treasury. So shouted the people, sounding the priests with the horns. And it came to pass, when the people heard the sound of the horn, that the people shouted with a great shout, and the wall fell down, and the people went up into the city, each one opposite him, and they took the city. And everything that was in the city they utterly destroyed with the edge of the sword, from man to woman, from child to old man, from ox to young cattle, to donkey. But Joshua said to the 2 men who had spied out the land, Go into the prostitute woman's house, and bring her out with all that she has, as you have sworn to her. Then the young spies went in, and brought out Rahab, and her father, and her mother, and her brothers, and all that she had. They also brought out all his kindred, and set them outside the camp of Israel. But the city and all that was in it burned with fire, only the silver, and the gold, and the vessels of metal and iron, they gave to the treasury of the house of the Lord. So Joshua gave life to the harlot Rahab and her father's family, and all that she had, and he dwelt in the midst of Israel to this day, because he hid the messengers that Joshua had sent to spy out Jericho. And Joshua admonished them at that time, saying, Cursed before the Lord be the man that riseth up and buildeth this city Jericho. He shall found it upon his firstborn, and upon his youngest son shall he set up its gates. So was the Lord with Joshua, and his fame spread throughout the land. Josué 7. And the children of Israel transgressed in the accursed thing, for Achan the son of Carmi, the son of Zabdi, the son of Zerah, of the tribe of Judah, took some of the accursed thing, and the anger of the Lord was kindled against the children of Israel. So Joshua sent men from Jericho to Ai, which is by Beth-aven on the east side of Bethel, and he spoke to them, saying, Go up and spy out the land. So the men went up and spied on Ai. And they returned to Joshua, and said to him, Let not all the people go up, let about 2,000, or 3,000 men, go up to smite Ai. Do not weary all the people there, for they are few. So about 3,000 men of the people went up there, and they fled before the men of Ai. And the men of Ai smote of them about 36, and pursued them from the gate to Sabarim, and smote them on the way down, and the hearts of the people melted and became like water. Then Joshua tore his clothes, and fell to the ground on his face before the ark of the Lord until evening, he and the elders of Israel, and they laid dust on their heads. And Joshua said, Ah, Lord God, why, indeed, did you bring this people across the Jordan, to deliver us into the hands of the Amorites to destroy us? Would that we had been content to stay beyond Jordan. O Lord, what shall I say? For Israel has turned its back on its enemies. When the Canaanites hear this, and all the inhabitants of the land, they will surround us and uproot our name from the land. And then what will you do to your great name? Then said the Lord to Joshua, Arise, why are you lying on your face like this? Israel sinned, and transgressed my covenant which I commanded them, and took of the accursed thing, and stole, and lied, and put it under their luggage. Therefore the children of Israel could not stand before their enemies, they turned their backs on their enemies, because they are cursed. I will no longer be with you unless you remove the accursed thing from among you. Arise, sanctify the people, and say, Sanctify yourselves against tomorrow, for thus saith the Lord God of Israel, There is an accursed thing in the midst of thee, O Israel, you will not be able to stand before your enemies until you remove the accursed thing from among you. Tomorrow therefore you shall come together according to your tribes, and it shall come to pass, that the tribe which the Lord shall take shall come near according to families, and the family which the Lord shall take shall come near by houses, and the house which the Lord shall take shall come near man by man. And it shall come to pass, that he that is taken with the accursed thing shall be burned with fire, he and all that he has, because he has transgressed the covenant of the Lord, and done a foolish thing in Israel. So Joshua rose early in the morning, and brought Israel near according to his tribes, and the tribe of Judah was taken. And bringing the tribe of Judah near, he took the family of the Zerahites, and making the family of the Zerahites approach man by man, Zabdi was taken. And when he brought his house near, man by man, Achan the son of Carmi, the son of Zabdi, the son of Zerah, of the tribe of Judah, was taken. Then Joshua said to Achan, My son, give, I pray you, glory to the Lord God of Israel, and make confession before him, and tell me now what you have done, do not hide it from me. And Achan answered Joshua, and said, Truly I have sinned against the Lord God of Israel, and have done thus and thus. When I saw among the spoils a goodly Babylonish garment, and 200 shekels of silver, and a wedge of gold, weighing 50 shekels, I coveted them and took them, and, behold, they are hidden in the earth, in the midst of my tent, and the silver under it. So Joshua sent messengers, who ran to the tent, and, behold, it was hid in his tent, and the silver under it. So they took those things from the middle of the tent, and brought them to Joshua and to all the children of Israel, and laid them before the Lord. Then Joshua, and all Israel with him, took Achan the son of Zerah, and the silver, and the garment, and the wedge of gold, and his sons, and his daughters, and his oxen, and his asses, and his sheep. and his tent, and all that he had, and they led them to the valley of Achor. And Joshua said, "Why have you troubled us? The Lord will disturb you this day." And all Israel stoned him, and burned them with fire after stoning them. And they raised a great heap of stones over him, to this day. So the Lord turned away from the fierceness of his anger, therefore that place is called the valley of Achor to this day. Josué 8. Then said the Lord unto Joshua, "Fear not, neither be dismayed, take with you all the people of war, and arise, go up to Ai. Behold, I have given into your hand the king of Ai, and his people, and his city, and his land. Thou shalt do to Ai and its king, as thou didst to Jericho and its king, except that you shall take his spoil for yourselves, and his cattle, set an ambush for the city behind it." Then Joshua rose, and all the people of war, to go up against Ai, and Joshua chose 30,000 valiant men, and sent them out by night. And he commanded them, saying, "Look, lay an ambush against the city behind it, do not stray too far from the city, and be attentive all of you. But I and all the people who are with me will approach the city, and it shall come to pass, when they come out to meet us, as before, that we will flee before them. So let them go out after us until we get them out of the city, for they will say, They flee before us as before. So we will flee before them. Then you will come out of the ambush and take the city, for the Lord your God will give it into your hand. And it shall come to pass, that having taken the city, ye shall set fire to it, according to the word of the Lord you shall do. Look what I have sent you." So Joshua sent them, and they went into ambush, and they stayed between Bethel and Ai, on the west of Ai. But Joshua spent that night among the people. And Joshua rose early in the morning, and numbered the people, and he and the elders of Israel went up before the people against Ai. And all the men of war that were with him also went up, and they approached, and arrived in front of the city, and they lodged on the north side of Ai, and there was a valley between them and Ai. He also took about 5,000 men, and set them in ambush between Bethel and Ai, on the west of the city. And they set the people, all the camp that was on the north of the city, in the ambush on the west of the city, and Joshua went that night into the middle of the valley. And it came to pass, when the king of Ai saw him, that he and all his people hurried, and rose up early in the morning, and the men of the city went out to meet Israel to battle, at the appointed time, in front of the plains, but he did not know that there was an ambush against him behind the city. Joshua therefore and all Israel were smitten before them, and fled by the way of the wilderness. Therefore all the people that were in the city were summoned to follow them, and they followed Joshua, and were driven away from the city. And there was not a man left in Ai, nor in Bethel, that did not go out after Israel, and they left the city open, and followed Israel. Then the Lord said to Joshua, "Stretch out the spear that is in your hand toward Ai, for I will give it into your hand." And Joshua stretched out the spear that was in his hand towards the city. Then the ambush hurriedly arose from its place, and, stretching out his hand, they ran and entered the city, and took it, and hastily, they set the city on fire. And when the men of Ai turned back, they looked, and, behold, the smoke of the city ascended to heaven, and they could not flee to one side or to the other, because the people, who fled into the wilderness, turned against the who followed them. And when Joshua and all Israel saw that the ambush had taken the city, and that the smoke of the city ascended, they turned back, and slew the men of Ai. Those from the city also went out to meet them, and so they stood among the Israelites, some on one side and some on another side, and they smote them, until not one of them survived or escaped. But the king of Ai they took alive, and brought him to Joshua. And it came to pass, when the Israelites had finished slaying all the inhabitants of Ai in the field, in the wilderness, where they had followed them, and when they had all fallen by the edge of the sword, until they were consumed, all Israel returned to Ai, and smote it with the edge of sword. And all that fell that day, both men and women, were 12,000, all inhabitants of Ai. Because Joshua did not withdraw his hand, which he had stretched out with the spear, until he utterly destroyed all the inhabitants of Ai. Only the Israelites took for themselves the livestock and the spoils of the city, according to the word of the Lord, which he had commanded Joshua. So Joshua burned Ai and made it a perpetual heap, in ruins, to this day. And he hanged the king of Ai on a tree until evening, and at sunset Joshua commanded that his body be taken down from the tree, and they cast him at the gate of the city, and heaped a great heap of stones over him, to this day. So Joshua built an altar to the Lord God of Israel on Mount Ebal. As Moses, the servant of the Lord, commanded the children of Israel, according to what is written in the book of the law of Moses, namely, an altar of whole stones, on which no instrument of iron shall move, and they offered burnt offerings upon it to the Lord, and sacrificed peace offerings. He also wrote there, on stones, a copy of the law of Moses, which he had written before the children of Israel. And all Israel, with their elders, and their princes, and their judges, stood on one side and on the other side of the ark, before the Levite priests, who carried the ark of the covenant of the Lord, both foreigners and natives, half of them in front of Mount Gerizim, and the other half in front of Mount Ebal, as Moses, the servant of the Lord, had commanded, to bless the people of Israel first. And afterward he read aloud all the words of the law, the blessing and the curse, according to all that is written in the book of the law. There was not a word of all that Moses had commanded, which Joshua did not read before all the congregation of Israel, and the women, and the little children, and the foreigners, who were walking among them. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our channel, leave your like, and make a comment. Joshua 9. And it came to pass, when all the kings that were on this side of Jordan, in the mountains, and in the plains, on all the coast of the great sea, in front of Lebanon, heard this, the Hittites, and the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites. They came together by one accord to fight against Joshua and against Israel. And the inhabitants of Gibeon, hearing what Joshua had done to Jericho and to Ai, they used cunning, and went and pretended to be ambassadors, and taking old sacks upon their asses, and skins of wine, old, and torn, and mended, and on his feet old mended shoes, and old clothes upon him, and all the bread they brought for the journey was dry and moldy. And they came to Joshua in the camp to Gilgal, and said to him and to the men of Israel, We come from a far country, so now make an agreement with us. And the men of Israel answered the Hivites, Peradventure ye dwell among us, how then shall we make an agreement with you? Then they said to Joshua, We are your servants. And Joshua said to them, Who are you, and where do you come from? And they said unto him, Thy servants are come from a very far country, because of the name of the Lord thy God, because we have heard of his fame, and all that he did in Egypt, and all that he did to the 2 kings of the Amorites that were beyond Jordan, to Sihon king of Heshbon, and to Og king of Bashan, who was in Ashtaroth. Therefore our elders and all the inhabitants of our land spoke to us, saying, Take provisions in your hand for the journey, and go to meet them and say to them, We are your servants, do, therefore, now agree with us. This our bread we took hot from our houses for our provision, on the day we went out to come to you, and here it is now dry and musty. And these skins, which we filled with wine, were new, and here they are already broken, and these our clothes and our shoes have become old because of the very long journey. So the men of Israel took their provisions and did not ask the Lord for advice. And Joshua made peace with them, and made a covenant with them, that he would give them life, and the princes of the congregation swore an oath to them. And it came to pass, at the end of 3 days, after they had made an agreement with them, that they heard that they were their neighbors, and that they dwelt among them. For when the children of Israel departed, they came to their cities on the 3rd day, and their cities were Gibeon and Sephra, and Beeroth, and Kiriath-Jearim. And the children of Israel did not smite them, because the princes of the congregation swore to them by the Lord God of Israel, therefore the whole congregation murmured against the princes. Then all the princes said to all the congregation, We have sworn to them by the Lord God of Israel, therefore we cannot touch them. This, however, will we do to them, we will save their lives, so that there will be no great wrath on us, because of the oath we swore to them. The princes therefore said unto them, Live, and be hewers of wood and drawers of water for all the congregation, as the princes said unto them. And Joshua called them, and spake unto them, saying, Why have ye deceived us, saying, We dwell far off from you, when ye dwell among us? Now therefore ye shall be cursed, and among you there shall never cease to be servants, or hewers of wood, or drawers of water, for the house of my God. Then they answered Joshua, and said, Because thy servants were surely told that the Lord thy God commanded Moses' servant, that he would give the whole land to you, and destroy all the inhabitants of the land before you, our lives because of you, that's why we did it like this. And behold, we are now in your hand, do to us what seems good and right to you. So he did to them, and he delivered them out of the hand of the children of Israel, and they did not kill them. And on that day Joshua made them to chop wood and draw water for the congregation and for the altar of the Lord, to this day, in the place which he would choose. Joshua 10. And it came to pass, when Adonizedek king of Jerusalem heard, that Joshua had taken Ai, and had utterly destroyed it, and had done to Ai, and to its king, as he had done to Jericho and its king, and that the inhabitants of Gibeon made peace with the Israelites, and were among them. They feared greatly, because Gibeon was a great city, like one of the royal cities, and even greater than Ai and all its mighty men. Therefore Adonizedek, king of Jerusalem, sent to Hoam, king of Hebron, and to Piram, king of Jarmuth, and to Japhia, king of Lachish, and to Debir, king of Eglon, saying, Come up to me, and help me, and let us smite Gibeon, because he made peace with Joshua and the children of Israel. Then the 5 kings of the Amorites came together and went up, the king of Jerusalem, the king of Hebron, the king of Jarmuth, the king of Lachish, the king of Eglon, they and all their armies, and they besieged Gibeon and fought against it. So the men of Gibeon sent to Joshua in the camp of Gilgal, saying, Do not withhold your hand from your servants, come up to us in haste, and deliver us, and help us, for all the kings of the Amorites, that dwell in the mountains, are gathered together against us. So Joshua went up from Gilgal, he and all the people of war with him, and all the valiant men. And the Lord said to Joshua, Do not be afraid of them, for I have given them into your hand, none of them will be able to resist you. And Joshua came upon them suddenly, for all night came up from Gilgal. And the Lord troubled them before Israel, and smote them with a great slaughter in Gibeon, and he pursued them by the way that goeth up to Beth-horon, and smote them as far as Azekah and Makkedah. And it came to pass, that as they fled before Israel, on the way down to Beth-horon, the Lord cast great stones upon them from heaven as far as Azekah, and they died, and many more died from the hailstones than the children of Israel killed with the sword. Then Joshua spoke to the Lord on the day that the Lord gave the Amorites into the hands of the children of Israel, and said in the presence of the Israelites, Sun, stand still in Gibeon, and you, moon, in the valley of Ajalon. And the sun stood still, and the moon stood still, until the people took revenge on their enemies. Is this not written in the book of Jasher? The sun therefore stood still in the midst of the sky, and did not hasten to go down, almost a whole day. And there was no day like this, before or after, when the Lord heard the voice of a man, because the Lord fought for Israel. And Joshua returned, and all Israel with him, to the camp at Gilgal. But those 5 kings fled and hid themselves in a cave at Makkedah. And it was told Joshua, saying, The 5 kings were found hid in a cave at Makkedah. Then Joshua said, Roll great stones to the mouth of the cave, and put men over it to guard them. But you do not stop, chase your enemies, and attack those who are lagging behind, do not let them enter your cities, for the Lord your God has already delivered them into your hand. And it came to pass, when Joshua and the children of Israel had made an end of slaying them with a great slaughter, until they had consumed them, and those that were left of them withdrew to the fortified cities. All the people returned in peace to Joshua, to the camp at Makkedah, there being no one to move his tongue against the children of Israel. Then Joshua said, Open the mouth of the pit, and bring out those 5 kings to me. So they did so, and brought those 5 kings out of the pit to him, the king of Jerusalem, the king of Hebron, the king of Jarmuth, the king of Lachish, and the king of Eglon. And it came to pass, when they brought those kings to Joshua, that he called all the men of Israel, and said to the captains of the men of war who went with him, Come near, put your feet on the necks of these kings. And they came and put their feet on their necks. Then Joshua said unto them, Fear not, neither be dismayed, strive and be encouraged, for so will the Lord do to all your enemies against whom you fight. And after this Joshua smote them, and slew them, and hanged them on 5 trees, and they were hanged on the trees until evening. And it came to pass, when the sun was setting, that Joshua commanded them to be taken down from the trees, and cast them into the pit where they hid, and they laid great stones at the mouth of the cave, which are still there to this day. And that same day Joshua took Makkedah, and smote it with the edge of the sword, and the king thereof, he utterly destroyed it with all that were in it, leaving nothing, and he did to the king of Makkedah as he had done to the king of Jericho. So Joshua, and all Israel with him, passed from Makkedah to Libnah and fought against it. And the Lord also delivered it into the hand of Israel, both it and its king, and smote it with the edge of the sword, it and all who were in it, leaving nothing, and he did to its king as he had done to the king of Jericho. So Joshua, and all Israel with him, passed from Libnah to Lachish, and besieged it, and fought against it. And the Lord delivered Lachish into the hand of Israel, and the next day he took her, and smote her and all that were in her with the edge of the sword, according to all that he had done to Libnah. Then Horam king of Gezer went up to help Lachish, but Joshua smote him and his people, until he left him not one. And Joshua, and all Israel with him, passed from Lachish to Eglon, and they besieged it, and fought against it. And the same day they took her, and smote her with the edge of the sword, and all that were in it, he utterly destroyed in the same day, according to all that he had done to Lachish. Then Joshua, and all Israel with him, went up from Eglon to Hebron, and they fought against it. And they took it, and smote it with the edge of the sword, and its king, and all its cities, and all that were in them, he left none alive, according to all that he had done to Eglon, and utterly destroyed it, and all who were in it. Then Joshua, and all Israel with him, returned to Debir, and fought against it. And he took it and its king, and all its cities, and smote them with the edge of the sword, and utterly destroyed all that were in them, nothing left, as he had done to Hebron, so he had done to Debir and its king, and as he had done to Libnah and its king. So Joshua smote all that land, the mountains, the south, and the plains, and the flowing waters, and all its kings, nothing left, but everything that breathed he destroyed, as the Lord, the God of Israel, had commanded. And Joshua smote them from Kadesh Barnea to Gaza, and all the land of Goshen, and to Gibeon. And Joshua took all these kings and their lands at once, because the Lord God of Israel fought for Israel. So Joshua, and all Israel with him, returned to the camp at Gilgal. Joshua 11. It came to pass after this, that when Jabin king of Hazor heard it, he sent messengers to Jobab king of Madon, and to the king of Shimron, and to the king of Aksaph, and to the kings that were in the north, in the mountains, and in the plain to the south of Chinnerit, and in the plains, and in the heights of Dor, by the sea. To the Canaanite from east and west, and the Amorite, and the Hittite, and the Perizzite, and the Jebusite in the mountains, and to the Hivite at the foot of Hermon, in the land of Mizpah. So they went out, and all their armies with them, a great multitude, like the sand that is on the seashore in multitude, and very many horses and chariots. All these kings assembled together, and came and encamped by the waters of Merom, to fight against Israel. And the Lord said to Joshua, Fear not before them, for tomorrow at this time I will give them all slain before the children of Israel. Their horses you shall hamstring, and their chariots you shall burn with fire. And Joshua, and all the men of war with him, came hastily upon them to the waters of Merom, and suddenly attacked them. And the Lord delivered them into the hand of Israel, and they smote them, and pursued them unto Great Sidon, and unto Misrephoth Main, and unto the valley of Mizpah on the east, they smote until they had none left. And Joshua did to them as the Lord had told him, his horses hobbled, and his chariots he burned with fire. And at that time Joshua returned, and took Hazor, and smote its king with the sword, for Hazor was formerly the head of all these kingdoms. And all that were in it, they smote with the edge of the sword, and utterly destroyed them, nothing was left that had breath, and Hazor burned with fire. And Joshua took all the cities of these kings, and all their kings, and smote them with the edge of the sword, utterly destroying them, as Moses the servant of the Lord had commanded. Only the Israelites did not burn the cities that were on their hills, except Hazor, which Joshua burned. And all the spoil of these cities, and the cattle, the children of Israel took for themselves, only all men they smote with the edge of the sword, until they destroyed them, nothing that had breath left alive. As the Lord commanded Moses his servant, so Moses commanded Joshua, and so Joshua did. Not one word did he take away from all that the Lord had commanded Moses. So Joshua took all that land, the mountains, and all the south, and all the land of Goshen, and the plains, and the mountains of Israel, and its plains. From Mount Halak, which goes up to Seir, to Baalgad, in the valley of Lebanon, at the foot of Mount Hermon, he also took all their kings, and smote and slew them. For a long time Joshua made war against all these kings. There was no city that made peace with the children of Israel, except the Hivites, inhabitants of Gibeon. By war they took them all. For the hardening of their hearts came from the Lord, to go out to war against Israel, that they should be utterly destroyed, and that they should find no pity, but to destroy them all as the Lord had commanded Moses. At that time Joshua came and uprooted the Anakims from the mountains of Hebron, from Debir, from Anab, and from all the mountains of Judah and from all the mountains of Israel. Joshua utterly destroyed them with their cities. None of the Anakim were left in the land of the children of Israel, only a few remained in Gaza, in Gath, and in Ashdod. So Joshua took the whole land, according to all that the Lord had said to Moses, and Joshua gave it as an inheritance to the children of Israel, according to their divisions, according to their tribes, and the land rested from war. Joshua 12. These, then, are the kings of the land, whom the children of Israel smote, and whose land they possessed beyond the Jordan toward the rising of the sun, from the brook Arnon to Mount Hermon, and all the plain eastward. Sihon, king of the Amorites, who dwelt in Heshbon, and who ruled from Aroer, which is on the bank of the brook Arnon, and from the middle of the brook, in the middle of Gilead, into the brook Jabbok, the boundary of the children of Ilovim. And from the plain to the sea of Chinnerit on the east, and as far as the sea of the plain, the salt sea on the east, by the way of Beth Jeshimoth, and from the south, below Asto Pisgah. As also the term of Og, king of Bashan, who was of the rest of the giants and who dwelt in Ashtoreth and Edrei. And he ruled in Mount Hermon, and in Salcah, and in all Bashan, to the border of the Jeshurites and the Maccathites, and half of Gilead, border of Sihon king of Heshbon. These Moses, the servant of the Lord, and the children of Israel, smote, and Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave the land for a possession to the Reubenites, and to the Gadites, and to the half-tribe of Manasseh. And these are the kings of the land which Joshua and the children of Israel smote on this side Jordan westward, from Baalgad, in the valley of Lebanon, unto Mount Halak, which goeth up to Seir, and Joshua gave it to the tribes of Israel for a possession according to their divisions. What was in the mountains, and in the plains, and in the descents of the waters, and in the desert, into the south, the Hittite, the Amorite, and the Canaanite, the Perizzite, the Hivite, and the Jebusite. The king of Jericho, 1. The king of Ai, who was beside Bethel, 1. The king of Jerusalem, another. The king of Hebron, 1. The king of Jarmuth, another. The king of Lachish, another. The king of Eglon, 1. The king of Geshur, 1. The king of Debir, another. The king of Geder, 1. The king of Hormah, another. The king of Harad, 1. The king of Libnah, another. The king of Adullam, 1. The king of Makkedah, another. The king of Bethel, 1. The king of Tappuah, another. The king of Hepher, 1. The king of Aphek, another. The king of Lasserim, 1. The king of Madden, another. The king of Hazor, 1. The king of Sinram-Meron, another. The king of Aksaph, 1. The king of Tanakh, another. The king of Megiddo, 1. The king of Kadesh, another. The king of Jokneam of Carmel, 1. The king of Dor on the hill of Dor, another. The king of Goim and Gilgal, 1. The king of Tirzah, another. 31 kings in all. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our channel, leave your like, and make a comment. Joshua 13. But Joshua was old and advanced in years, and the Lord said unto him, Thou art old and advanced in days, and yet very much land was left to possess. The land that remains is this, all the borders of the Philistines and all of Geshur. From Shir, which is opposite Egypt, to the border of Ekron on the north, which is said to be of the Canaanites, 5 princes of the Philistines, the Gazite, and the Ashdodian, the Ashkelonite, the Gittite, and the Ekronite, and the Aviams. From the south, all the land of the Canaanites, and Mira, which is of the Sidonians, to Aphek, to the border of the Amorites. And the land of the Jebuelites, and all Lebanon, toward the rising of the sun, from Baal-gad, at the foot of Mount Hermon, to the entrance of Hamath. All who dwell in the mountains from Lebanon to Misrephoth-maim, all the Sidonians, I will drive them out from before the children of Israel, only apportion the land as an inheritance to Israel, as I commanded you. Now therefore divide this land as an inheritance to the 9 tribes, and to the half-tribe of Manasseh, with which the Reubenites and the Gadites already received their inheritance, beyond the Jordan on the east, just as Moses, the servant of the Lord, already gave them. From Aroer, which is on the bank of the brook Arnon, and the city that is in the middle of the valley, and all the plain of Medeba to Dibon, and all the cities of Sihon king of the Amorites, who reigned in Heshbon until the end of the Ammonites, and Gilead, and the border of the Jeshurites, and of the Maccathites, and all Mount Hermon, and all Bashan as far as Salcah. All the kingdom of Og in Bashan, who reigned in Ashtoreth and Edrei, this one was left of the remnant of the giants that Moses smote and drove out. But the children of Israel did not drive out the Jeshurites or the Maccathites, rather Geshur and Maccath dwelt in the midst of Israel to this day. Only to the tribe of Levi did he not give an inheritance. The sacrifices made by fire of the Lord God of Israel are his inheritance, as I promised him. So Moses gave to the tribe of the children of Reuben according to their families. And it was its boundary from Aroer, which is on the bank of the Arnon stream, in the city that is in the middle of the valley, and all the plain as far as Medeba. Heshbon and all its cities that are in the plain, Dibon, and Bamathbal, and Beth-Balmeon, and Jasa, and Kedemoth, and Mephith, and Kiriathaim and Sibmah, and Zereth-Sar, in the mount of the valley, Beth Peor, and Ashdoth-Pisgah, Beth Jezemoth, and all the cities of the plain, and all the kingdom of Sihon king of the Amorites, who reigned in Heshbon, whom Moses smote, and the princes of Midian, Evi, and Rekem, and Zur, and Hur, and Reba, princes of Sihon, inhabitants of the land. The children of Israel also slew Balaam the son of Beor, the soothsayer, with the sword, with others who were slain by them. And the border of the children of Reuben remained Jordan and its borders. This was the inheritance of the sons of Reuben, according to their families, cities, and villages. And Moses gave to the tribe of Gad, to the children of Gad, according to their families. And their border was Jazer, and all the cities of Gilead, and half the land of the children of Ammon, as far as Aroer, which is in front of Rabbah. And from Heshbon to Ramath-Mizpah and Betonim, and from Mahanaim to the border of Debir. And in the valley of Beth-aram, and Beth-nimrah, and Sukkos, Zaphon, which was left of the remnant of the kingdom of Sihon, in Heshbon, Jordan and its boundary, to the end of the sea of Chinnereth beyond Jordan on the east. This is the inheritance of the children of Gad according to their families, cities and villages. Moses also gave inheritance to the half-tribe of Manasseh, and he gave to the half-tribe of the children of Manasseh, according to their families. So their boundary was from Mahanaim, all Bashan, all the kingdom of Og king of Bashan, and all the villages of Jair, which are in Bashan, 60 cities. And half of Gilead, and Ashtaroth, and Edrei, cities of the kingdom of Og in Bashan, he gave to the children of Machir, son of Manasseh, that is, to half of the children of Machir, according to their families. This is what Moses allotted for an inheritance in the plains of Moab beyond Jordan east of Jericho. However, to the tribe of Levi, Moses did not give an inheritance. The Lord God of Israel is his heritage, as he had spoken to him. Joshua 14. This, then, is what the children of Israel had as an inheritance in the land of Canaan, which Eleazar the priest, and Joshua the son of Nun, and the heads of the fathers of the tribes of the children of Israel caused them to allot by the lot of their inheritance, as the Lord commanded by Moses, concerning the 9 tribes and the half-tribe. For to the 2 tribes and to the half-tribe Moses had given an inheritance beyond Jordan, but to the Levites he had given no inheritance among them. For the sons of Joseph were 2 tribes, Manasseh and Ephraim, and the Levites were given no inheritance in the land, except cities to dwell in, and their suburbs for their cattle and for their goods. As the Lord had commanded Moses, so did the children of Israel, and they divided the land. Then the children of Judah came to Joshua at Gilgal, and Caleb the son of Jephunneh the Kenizzite said unto him, Thou knowest what the Lord spake unto Moses the man of God in Kadesh Barnea on account of me and thee. I was 40 years old when Moses the servant of the Lord sent me from Kadesh Barnea to spy out the land, and I brought you an answer, as I felt it in my heart. But my brothers, who went up with me, melted the hearts of the people, but I persevered in following the Lord my God. Then Moses swore that day, saying, Surely the land that thy foot trodden upon shall be thine and thy children's for an inheritance forever, for you have persevered in following the Lord my God. And now, behold, the Lord has preserved me alive, as he said. 45 years have passed since the Lord spoke this word to Moses, while Israel walked in the wilderness, and now, behold, I am now 85 years old. And even today I am as strong as the day Moses sent me. What was my strength then, so is my strength now, both for war and for going out and coming in. Now therefore, give me this mountain of which the Lord spoke on that day, for on that day you heard that the Anakims were there, and cities great and fortified. Perhaps the Lord will be with me to drive them out, as the Lord said. And Joshua blessed him, and gave Caleb the son of Jephunneh to Hebron for an inheritance. Therefore Hebron became the inheritance of Caleb, the son of Jephunneh the Kenizzite, to this day, because he persevered in following the Lord God of Israel. And formerly the name of Hebron was Kiriath Arba, because Arba was the greatest man among the Anakims. And the land rested from war. Joshua 15. The lot that fell to the tribe of the children of Judah, according to their families, was to the border of Edom, the desert of Zin, to the south, at the end of the southern side. And its boundary was toward the south, from the end of the Salt Sea, from the bay that looks toward the south. And go out to the south, as far as the ascent of Akrabim, and pass to Zin, and go up from the south to Kadesh Barnea, and pass through Hezron, and go up to Adar, and turn to Karka. And pass Asman, and go out to the brook of Egypt, and the exits of this term go to the sea. This shall be your border on the south side. But the border to the east shall be the Salt Sea, to the mouth of the Jordan, and the border to the north shall be from the bay of the sea, from the mouth of Jordan. And this term will go up to Beth Hoglah, and will pass from the north to Beth Araba, and this term will go up to the rock of Boan, son of Reuben. This term shall go up to Debir from the valley of Acre, going north towards Gilgal, which is opposite the ascent of Adumim, which is to the south of the brook. Then this term continues to the waters of En-Semez, and their outputs are on the side of En-Rogel. And this term goes up through the valley of the son of Hinnom, from the south side of the Jebusites, that is Jerusalem, and goes up this term to the top of the mountain that is opposite the valley of Hinnom on the west, which is at the end of the valley of the Rephanes of the north side. So this term extends from the height of the mountain to the source of the waters of Nephtoah, and went out to the cities of Mount Ephron. This term goes further to Bala, this is Kiriath Jearim. Then this term returns from Bala westward to the mountains of Seir, and passes by the side of Mount Jearim on the north side, this is Chesalem, and goes down to Beth Shemesh, and passes through Timnah. This term goes beyond Ekron, towards the north, and this term goes to Sychron and passes the Mount of Bala, and comes out in Jabneel, and so this term ends in the sea. But the boundary on the west side will be the Great Sea and its surroundings. This is the boundary of the children of Judah round about, according to their families. But to Caleb the son of Jephunneh he gave a portion among the children of Judah, according to the commandment of the Lord to Joshua, namely, the city of Arba, which is Hebron. This Arba was the father of Anak. And Caleb drove out from there the 3 sons of Anak, Sheshai, and Ahiman, and Talmai, begotten of Anak. And from there he went up to the inhabitants of Debir, and formerly the name of Debir, Kiriath Sepher. And Caleb said, Whoever smites Kirjath-Sepher, and takes her, I will give him my daughter Achsah to wife. So he took it from Othniel, son of Kenaz, brother of Caleb, and he gave him his daughter Achsah to wife. And it came to pass, when she came to him, that she persuaded him to ask her father for a field, and she got down from her donkey. Then Caleb said to him, What is the matter with you? And she said, Give me a blessing, for thou hast given me dry land, give me also springs of water. So she gave you the upper springs and the lower springs. This is the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Judah according to their families. So these are the cities of the tribe of the children of Judah, as far as the border of Edom, in the extreme south, Kabzeel, and Eder, and Jagur, and Kanah, and Damonah, and Adadah, and Kadesh, and Hazor, and Ithan, Ziph, and Telem, and Bealoth, and Hazor Adadah, and Kerioth Hezrom, which is Hazor, Ammon and Shema, and Maladah, and Hazargada, and Hesmom, and Beth Palet, and Hazarsul, and Beersheba, and Biziosha, Bala, and Iim, and Azam, and Eltolad, and Quesel, and Hormah, and Ziklag, and Madmanah, and Sansannah, and Leboth, and Silim, and Ain, and Rimmon, all the cities and their villages, 29. On the plains, Eshtaol, and Zorah, and Asna, and Zanoah, and En-Ganim, Tapua, and Anah, and Jarmuth, and Adullam, Soko, and Azekah, and Saharaim, and Adatam, and Gedera, and Gederotam, 14 cities and their villages. Zenon, and Hadassah, and Migdalgad, and Dalim, and Mizp, and Joktiel, Lachish, and Bosgate, and Eglon, and Kabam, and Lamash, and Quitlis, and Gederoth, Bethdagam, and Naamah, and Makkedah, 16 cities and their villages. Libnah, and Ether, and Ashan, and Iphta, and Asna, and Nezib, and Quilah, and Aksib, and Mershah, 9 cities and their villages. Ekron with its towns and villages. From Ekron to the sea, all that are on the side of Ashdod, and its villages. Ashdod, with its towns and villages, Gaza, with its towns and villages, as far as the river of Egypt, and the great sea and its boundary. And on the mountains, Samir, Jattir, and Soko, and Dana, and Kiriath-Zana, which is Debir, and Anab, Estemo, and Anim, and Goshen, and Halam, and Jilo, 11 cities and their villages. Arab, and Dumai Nashan, and Janim, and Beth Tapua, and Aphekah, and Hunta, and Kiriath Arba, which is Hebron, and Zir, 9 cities and their villages. Man, Carmel, and Ziph, and Judah, and Jezreel, and Jokdeam, and Zanoah, Cain, Gibeah, and Timnah, 10 cities and their villages. Halel, Beth Zur, and Geder, and Merit, and Bethanoti, and Eltekam, 6 cities and their villages. Kiriath Baal, which is Kiriath Jearim, and Rabbah, 2 cities and their villages. In the desert, Beth Araba, Middim, and Sekakah, and Nibshan, and the city of Salt, and En-Gedi, 6 cities and their villages. But the children of Judah were not able to drive out the Jebusites who dwelt in Jerusalem, so the Jebusites have dwelt with the children of Judah in Jerusalem to this day. Joshua 16. Then came the lot of the sons of Joseph, from the Jordan towards Jericho, by the waters of Jericho, eastward, extending through the desert that goes up from Jericho through the mountains of Bethel. And from Bethel he goes to Luz, and passes to the border of the Archites, to Atarot. And it goes down from the west side to the border of Japhleti, to the border of Beth-horon below, into Gezer, going to end in the sea. So the sons of Joseph, Manasseh and Ephraim, obtained their inheritance. And the border of the children of Ephraim was, according to their families, as follows. The border of their inheritance toward the east was Atarot-Adar to Beth-horon from above. And this term goes out to the west by Makmedah, from the north, and turns this term to the east to Tanate Silo, and passes through it from the east to Genoa. And it goes down from Genoa to Ataroth and Nerate and touches Jericho, ending in Jordan. From Tapua this term goes west to the brook of Kana, ending in the sea. This is the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Ephraim according to their families, plus the cities that were set apart for the children of Ephraim in the midst of the inheritance of the children of Manasseh, all those cities and their villages. And they did not drive out the Canaanites who dwelt in Gezer, and the Canaanites dwell among the Ephraimites to this day, however, being tributary to them. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our channel, leave your like, and make a comment. Joshua 17. Also Lot fell to the tribe of Manasseh, because he was Joseph's firstborn. Machir, the firstborn of Manasseh, the father of Gilead, because he was a man of war, had Gilead and Bashan. And the rest of the sons of Manasseh had their share according to their families, namely, the sons of Abiezer, and the sons of Helek, and the sons of Israel, and the sons of Shechem, and the sons of Hepher, and the sons of Semida. These are the sons of Manasseh the son of Joseph according to his families. But Zelophehad, the son of Hepher, the son of Gilead, the son of Machir, the son of Manasseh, had no sons, only daughters, and these are the names of his daughters, Mahlah, Noah, Hoglah, Milcah, and Tirzah. So these came before Eleazar the priest, and before Joshua the son of Nun, and before the princes, saying, The Lord commanded Moses to give us an inheritance among our brethren, of the Lord. He gave them an inheritance from among their father's brothers. And 10 shares fell to Manasseh, besides the land of Gilead and Bashan, which is beyond Jordan. For the daughters of Manasseh received an inheritance among his sons, and the other sons of Manasseh had the land of Gilead. And the border of Manasseh was from Asher to Michmadah, which is in front of Shechem, and this term extends to the right to the inhabitants of En-Tappuah. Manasseh owned the land of Tappuah, but Tappuah, by the border of Manasseh, belonged to the children of Ephraim. Then this term went down to the brook of Kanah. To Ephraim fell the cities south of the brook, between the cities of Manasseh, and the border of Manasseh was on the north side of the brook, ending in the sea. Ephraim on the south, and Manasseh on the north, and the sea is their boundary. From the north they touch Asher, and from the east Issachar. For in Issachar and in Asher Manasseh had Beth-shean and its towns, and Ibleam and its towns, and the inhabitants of Dor and its towns, and the inhabitants of Endor and its towns, and the inhabitants of Tanakh and its towns, and the inhabitants of Megiddo and its towns, 3 hills. And the sons of Manasseh were not able to drive out the inhabitants of those cities, because the Canaanites wanted to dwell in the same land. And it came to pass, when the children of Israel had grown strong, that they made tributaries to the Canaanites, but they did not drive them out altogether. Then the sons of Joseph spoke to Joshua, saying, Why have you given me only 1 lot and 1 share for an inheritance, when I am so great a people, since the Lord has blessed me hitherto? And Joshua said unto them, If thou art so great a people, go up into the forest, and cut there for thee a place in the land of the Perizzites and the Rephaims, for the mountains of Ephraim are too narrow for you. Then said the sons of Joseph, The mountains are not enough for us, and there are chariots of iron among all the Canaanites who dwell in the land of the valley, among those at Bethshan and its towns, and among those who are in the valley of Jezreel. Then Joshua spake unto the house of Joseph, to Ephraim, and to Manasseh, saying, Thou art a great people, and hast great strength, you won't have just 1 lock. But the mountains will be yours. Though it is a forest, you shall cut it down, and its ends shall be yours, for you will drive out the Canaanites, though they have chariots of iron, though they are strong. Joshua 18. And all the congregation of the children of Israel assembled at Shiloh, and there they pitched the tent of meeting, after the land was subdued to them. And among the children of Israel there remained 7 tribes which had not yet apportioned their inheritance. And Joshua said unto the children of Israel, How long will ye be slack to go and to possess the land which the Lord God of your fathers hath given you? From each tribe choose you 3 men, that I may send them, and they may arise and roam the land, and mark it out according to their inheritances, and return to me. And they shall divide it into 7 parts. Judah shall be in its south boundary, and the house of Joseph shall be in its north boundary. And you shall divide the land into 7 parts, and bring me here described, that I may cast lots here before the Lord our God. For the Levites have no part among you, for the priesthood of the Lord is their part, and Gad, and Reuben, and the half-tribe of Manasseh, received their inheritance beyond Jordan on the east, which Moses the servant of the Lord gave them. Then those men got up and went away, and Joshua commanded them that went to demarcate the land, saying, Go and traverse the land, and demarcate it, and then return to me, and here I will cast lots for you before the Lord in Shiloh. So those men went, and passed through the land, and demarcated it, in 7 parts according to the cities, describing it in a book, and they returned to Joshua, to the camp in Shiloh. Then Joshua cast lots for them in Shiloh before the Lord, and there Joshua divided the land to the children of Israel according to their divisions. And he drew lots for the tribe of the children of Benjamin according to their families, and the border of his lot fell between the children of Judah and the children of Joseph. And his border was toward the north, from Jordan, and that border goes up beside Jericho to the north, and goes up through the mountain to the west, ending in the desert of Beth-aven. And from there this term passes to Luz, beside Luz, which is Bethel, towards the south, and go down to Atarot-adar, at the foot of the mountain that is on the south side of Beth-horon from below. And this term goes back on the west side to the south of the mountain that is in front of Beth-horon, to the south, ending in Kiriath-baal, that is Kiriath-jearim, city of the children of Judah. This is its extension to the west. And its extension towards the south begins at the end of Kiriath-jearim, and this term goes to the west and goes to the source of the waters of Nephtoah. And this term goes down to the end of the mountain that is opposite the valley of the son of Hinnom, which is in the valley of the Rep-hanes to the north, and goes down through the valley of Hinnom on the side of the Jebusites to the south, and then descends to En-rogel. And it goes from the north, and comes to En-semes, and from there went out to Jelilot, which is opposite the ascent of Adumim, and went down to the rock of Bohan, son of Reuben, and passed to the side, in front of Arabah, to the north, and go down to Arabah. Past this term further to the side of Beth-haglas, to the north, that term going out in the bay of the Salt Sea, to the north, at the end of the Jordan, to the south, this is the southern term. And Jordan will be their boundary on the east side. This is the inheritance of the children of Benjamin, in their borders round about, according to their families. In the cities of the tribe of the children of Benjamin, according to their families, Jericho, and Beth-hagla, and Emet-queses, and Beth-araba, and Zemaraim, and Bethel, and Avim, and Para, and Ophrah, and Kepharammoni, and Hophni, and Gaba, 12 cities and their villages, Gibeon, and Ramah, and Beeroth, and Mizpah, and Sephirah, and Moza, and Rechem, and Irpeel, and Terelah, and Zelah, Eleph, and Jebus. This is Jerusalem, Gibeah, and Quiriath, 14 cities with their villages. This is the inheritance of the children of Benjamin according to their families. Joshua 19. And the second lot went out to Simeon, for the tribe of the children of Simeon, according to their families, and it was his inheritance in the midst of the inheritance of the children of Judah. And they had in their inheritance, Beersheba, and Seba, and Melada, and Hazar-sual, and Bala, and Azam, and Eltalad, and Bethol, and Hormah, and Ziklag, and Beth-markabat, and Hazar-susa, and Beth-leboth, and Sarum, 13 cities and their villages, and Ain, and Rimmon, and Ether, and Ashan, 4 cities and their villages, and all the villages that were around these cities, as far as Baalath-beer, that is Ramah, on the south. This is the inheritance of the tribe of the sons of Simeon according to their families. The inheritance of the sons of Simeon was taken away from the lot of the sons of Judah, because the inheritance of the sons of Judah was too great for them. Therefore the sons of Simeon had their inheritance among them. And the third lot came out for the sons of Zebulun, according to their families, and the border of his inheritance was to Sarid. And his term goes up by the west to Maralah, and goes to Dabesheth, and also reaches the brook that is in front of Jokneam. And from Sarid, turn eastward, toward the rising of the sun, to the end of Chislot-tabor, go out to Dabarat, and go up to Japhia. And from there it passes by the east, to Gath-heger, and Chazim, reaching Rimmon-metor, which goes to Ne. And encircling it, the border passes north to Hanatam, reaching the valley of Iftael, and Katath, Nalal, and Sinran, and Idalah, and Bethlehem, 12 cities and their villages. This is the inheritance of the sons of Zebulun according to their families, these cities and their villages. The fourth lot came out for Issachar, to the sons of Issachar according to their families. And their boundary was Jezreel, and Jezeloth, and Shunem, and Hapharaim, and Sion, and Anarat, and Rabbath, and Kishan, and Ebez, and Remeth, and En-Ganim, and Enhada, and Beth-Pazez. And this term comes to Tabor, and Sazima, and Beth-Shemesh, and it will end at Jordan, 16 cities and their villages. This is the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Issachar according to their families, these cities and their villages. And the fifth lot came out for the tribe of the children of Asher, according to their families. And their border was Helkath, and Hali, and Beten, and Aksaph, and Elamelech, and Amad, and Misal, and reaches Carmel to the west, and Seir-Libnate. And it returns to the rising of the sun to Beth-Dagon, and comes to Zebulun and the valley of Ifta-El, north of Beth-Emek and Neiel, and comes out to Kabul, on the left. And Hebron, and Rehob, and Hammon, and Kana, unto Sidon the Great. And this term returns to Ramah, and to the strong city of Tyre, then turns this term to Hosha, to end in the sea, in the region of Akzib. And Umah, and Aphek, and Rehob, 22 cities and their villages. This is the inheritance of the tribe of Asher according to their families, these cities and their villages. And the sixth lot came out for the sons of Naphtali, according to their families. And it was its border from Heleph and from Alam and Zananim, and Adami-Negweb, and Jabneel, to Lakum, ending in Jordan. And this term returns by the west to Asnot-Tabor, and from there it passes to Hukok, and reaches Zebulun on the south, and reaches Asher on the west, and Judah by Jordan at the rising of the sun. And these are the fortified cities, Ziddim, Zur, and Hamath, Rakkath, and Quinneret, and Adamah, and Ramah, and Hazor, and Kadesh, and Edrei, and En-Hazor, and Iron, and Migdal-El, Horam, and Bethanath, and Beth-Shemesh, 19 cities and their villages. This is the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Naphtali according to their families, these cities and their villages. The seventh lot came out for the tribe of the sons of Dan, according to their families. And it was the end of his inheritance, Sora, and Estaol, and Ir-Shemesh, and Shalabim, and Ijalon, and Itlah, and Elon, and Timnah, and Ekron, and Eltek, and Jibdam, and Balath, and Jehud, and Bani Barak, and Gath-Rimmon, and Mejarkam, and Rakim, with the border over Japho. But a small term went out to the children of Dan, and the children of Dan went up and fought against Leshem, and took it, and smote it with the edge of the sword, and possessed it, and dwelt therein, and Leshem they called Dan, after the name of his father Dan. This is the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Dan according to their families, these cities and their villages. So when they had finished apportioning the land as an inheritance according to its borders, the children of Israel gave Joshua son of Nun an inheritance among them. According to the command of the Lord, they gave him the city that he asked, Timnath-Serah, in the mountain of Ephraim, and he rebuilt that city, and dwelt therein. These are the inheritances which Eleazar the priest, and Joshua the son of Nun, and the heads of the fathers of the families allotted to the tribes of the children of Israel, as an inheritance by lot in Shiloh before the Lord, at the door of the tent of congregation. And so they finished apportioning the land. Joshua 20. The Lord spoke further to Joshua, saying, He speaks to the children of Israel, saying, Set apart for yourselves the cities of refuge, which I spoke to you about by the ministry of Moses, so that the murderer may flee there, who kills someone by mistake and not with intent, that they may be your refuge from the avenger of blood. And fleeing to one of those cities, he will stand at its gate and plead his case in the ears of the elders of that city. Then they will take him with them into the city, and they will give him a place to dwell with them. And if the avenger of blood follows him, they will not deliver the slayer into his hand, because he did not kill his neighbor with intent, and did not hate him before. And he shall dwell in the same city, until he appear in judgment before the congregation, until the high priest who shall be in those days die. Then the manslayer will return, and will come to his city and to his house, to the city from which he fled. Then they appointed Kadesh in Galilee, in the mountain of Naphtali, and Shechem, in the mountain of Ephraim, and Kiriath-arba, that is, Hebron, in the mountain of Judah. And beyond the Jordan toward Jericho on the east, they appointed Bezer in the wilderness in the plain from the tribe of Reuben, and Ramoth in Gilead from the tribe of Gad, and Golan and Bashan from the tribe of Manasseh. These are the cities which were appointed for all the children of Israel, and for the alien who dwelt among them, so that anyone who killed someone by mistake might flee to them, lest he died by the hand of the avenger of blood, until appear before the congregation. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our channel, leave your like, and make a comment. Joshua 21. Then the heads of the fathers of the Levites approached Eleazar the priest, and Joshua the son of Nun, and the heads of the fathers of the tribes of the children of Israel. And they spake unto them in Shiloh, in the land of Canaan, saying, The Lord commanded, by the hand of Moses, that we should be given cities to dwell in, and their pastures for our cattle. Therefore the children of Israel gave to the Levites from their inheritance, at the command of the Lord, the following cities and their suburbs. And the lot came out for the families of the Kohathites, and to the sons of Aaron the priest, who were of the Levites, they had by lot out of the tribe of Judah, and out of the tribe of Simeon, and out of the tribe of Benjamin, 13 cities. And to the other sons of Kohath fell by lot, from the families of the tribe of Ephraim, and from the tribe of Dan, and from the half-tribe of Manasseh, 10 cities. And to the children of Gershon there fell by lot, out of the families of the tribe of Issachar, and of the tribe of Asher, and of the tribe of Naphtali, and of the half-tribe of Manasseh, in Bashan, 13 cities. To the children of Merari, according to their families, from the tribe of Reuben, and from the tribe of Gad, and from the tribe of Zebulun, 12 cities. And the children of Israel gave the Levites these cities and their suburbs by lot, as the Lord commanded by Moses. They gave more, from the tribe of the children of Judah and from the tribe of the children of Simeon, these cities, which were mentioned by name, that they might be of the sons of Aaron, of the families of the Kohathites of the sons of Levi, because the first lot was yours. So they gave them the city of Arba, the father of Anaks, that is Hebron, in the mountain of Judah, with its surrounding suburbs. But the field of the city, and its villages, they gave to Caleb son of Jephunneh for his possession. So to the sons of Aaron the priest they gave Hebron, the city of refuge for the slayer, and its suburbs, Libnah and its suburbs, Jather with its suburbs, and Estemoa with its suburbs, and Hallam with its suburbs, and Debir with its suburbs, and Ain with its pasture lands, and Judah with its pasture lands, and Beth Shemesh with its pasture lands, 9 cities of these 2 tribes. And out of the tribe of Benjamin, Gibeon with its suburbs, Geba with its suburbs, Anathoth with its suburbs, and Almon with its suburbs, 4 cities. All the cities of the priests, the sons of Aaron, were 13 cities with their suburbs. And the families of the sons of Kohath, Levites, who were left of the sons of Kohath, had the cities of their lot, from the tribe of Ephraim. And they gave them Shechem, the city of refuge for the slayer, and her pasture lands in the mount of Ephraim, and Gezer and her pasture lands, and Quibzane with its suburbs, and Beth-horon with its suburbs, 4 cities. And out of the tribe of Dan, Eltek with its suburbs, Jibdam with its suburbs, Aijalon with its suburbs, Gathrimmon with its suburbs, 4 cities. And of the half-tribe of Manasseh, Tanakh with its suburbs, and Gathrimmon with its suburbs, 2 cities. The cities for the families of the other sons of Kohath were 10 and their suburbs. And to the sons of Gershon, of the families of the Levites, they gave out of the half-tribe of Manasseh, Golan, the city of refuge for the slayer, in Bashan with its pasture lands, and Beesthera with its pasture lands, 2 cities. And out of the tribe of Issachar, Kiziam with its suburbs, Daberath with its suburbs, Jarmuth and its surroundings, En-Ganim and its surroundings, 4 cities. And of the tribe of Asher, Misal with its pasture lands, Abdon with its pasture lands, Helkath with her suburbs, and Rehob with her suburbs. And out of the tribe of Naphtali, Kadesh, the city of refuge for the slayer, in Galilee with its suburbs, and Hamath-dor with its suburbs, and Carton with its suburbs, 3 cities. All the cities of the Gershonites, according to their families, were 13 cities with their suburbs. And to the families of the children of Merari, to the rest of the Levites, were given, out of the tribe of Zebulun, Jokneam with its suburbs, Kartan with its suburbs, Dimnah with its suburbs, Nahal with its suburbs, 4 cities. And out of the tribe of Reuben, Bezer with its pasture lands, and Jahzah with its pasture lands, Quidmoth with its suburbs, and Mephith with its suburbs, 4 cities. And of the tribe of Gad, Ramoth, the city of refuge for the slayer, and Gilead with its suburbs, and Mahanaim with its suburbs, Heshbon with its suburbs, Jazer with its suburbs, in all, 4 cities. All these cities belonged to the sons of Merari, according to their families, which were still left of the families of the Levites, and 12 cities were his lot. All the cities of the Levites in the midst of the inheritance of the children of Israel were 48 cities with their suburbs. These cities were, each with its suburbs around them, so were all these cities. In this way the Lord gave to Israel all the land which he had sworn to give to their fathers, and they possessed it and dwelt in it. O Señor les do repuso de todos os lados, conforme a tudo quando jurara a sus pais, y nenem de todos os sus inimigos pod resistilos, todos os sus inimigos o Señor entregulis nas maus. Palavra alguma falhou de todas as boas coisas que o Señor falou a casa de Israel, tudo se cumpriu. Joshua 22. Then Joshua called the Reubenites, and the Gadites, and the half-tribe of Manasseh. And he said unto them, All that Moses the servant of the Lord commanded you, ye have kept, and you obeyed my voice in all that I commanded you. Your brothers for all this time, until today, you have not forsaken, before you were careful to keep the commandment of the Lord your God. Now the Lord your God has given your brethren rest, as he had promised them. Turn now therefore, and go to your tents, to the land of your possession, which Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave you on the other side Jordan. Only be careful to diligently keep the commandment and the law which Moses the servant of the Lord commanded you, that you love the Lord your God, and walk in all his ways, and keep his commandments, and hold fast to him, and serve him with all your heart and with all your soul. So Joshua blessed them, and sent them away, and they went to their tents. Now Moses had given inheritance in Bashan to half the tribe of Manasseh, but to the other half Joshua gave inheritance among their brethren on this side Jordan westward, and Joshua also sending them to their tents, blessed them. And he spake unto them, saying, Return to your tents with great riches, and with very much cattle, with silver, and with gold, and with metal, and with iron, and with very many garments, and with your brethren divide the spoil of your enemies. So the children of Reuben, and the children of Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh returned, and separated from the children of Israel, from Shiloh, which is in the land of Canaan, to go to the land of Gilead, to the land of their possession, of which they were made possessors, according to the command of the Lord by the ministry of Moses. And when they came to the borders of Jordan, still in the land of Canaan, there the children of Reuben, and the children of Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh built an altar by Jordan, an altar of great appearance. And the children of Israel heard saying, Behold, the children of Reuben, and the children of Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh, have built an altar before the land of Canaan, on the borders of Jordan, on the side of the children of Israel. When the children of Israel heard this, the whole congregation of the children of Israel gathered together at Shiloh, to go out to war against them. And the children of Israel sent, to the children of Reuben, and to the children of Gad, and to the half-tribe of Manasseh, in the land of Gilead, to Phinehas the son of Eleazar the priest. And 10 princes with him, from each paternal house 1 prince, from all the tribes of Israel, and every one was the head of his father's house among the thousands of Israel. And as they went to the children of Reuben, and to the children of Gad, and to the half-tribe of Manasseh, to the land of Gilead, they spoke to them, saying, Thus saith all the congregation of the Lord, What trespass is this, which ye have committed against the God of Israel, in turning away from following the Lord this day, in building yourselves an altar, to rebel against the Lord? The iniquity of Peor was little to us, from which we are still not cleansed to this day, even though there was punishment in the congregation of the Lord. Why do you stop following the Lord today? If you rebel against the Lord today, tomorrow he will be angry with the whole congregation of Israel. But if the land of your inheritance is unclean, move over to the land of the Lord's possession, where the Lord's tabernacle dwells, and take possession among us, but do not rebel against the Lord, nor rebel against us, in building yourselves an altar besides the altar of the Lord our God. Did not Achan the son of Zerah commit a trespass concerning the accursed thing? Did not wrath come upon all the congregation of Israel, so that that man did not die alone in his iniquity? Then answered the children of Reuben, and the children of Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh, and said to the heads of the thousands of Israel, the Lord God of gods, the Lord God of gods, he knows, and Israel himself will know. If it was by rebellion, or by transgression against the Lord, do not preserve us today. If we build an altar to turn away from the Lord, or to offer burnt offerings and food offerings on it, or to present peace offerings on it, the Lord himself requires it of us. And if we did not do it before for fear of this, saying, tomorrow your children will come and speak to our children, saying, what have you to do with the Lord God of Israel? For the Lord hath made Jordan a boundary between us and you, O children of Reuben, and children of Gad, you have no part in the Lord, and so well might your children turn our children from fearing the Lord. Therefore we said, let us now prepare and build an altar, not for a burnt offering, nor for a sacrifice, but that, between us and you, and between our generations after us, it may be for us a witness, that we may do the service of the Lord before him with our burnt offerings, and with our sacrifices, and with our peace offerings, lest your children say to our children tomorrow, you have no part in the Lord. Therefore we said, when it shall come to pass that tomorrow they say to us and to our generations, then we will say, see the pattern of the altar of the Lord, which our fathers made, not for a burnt offering, nor for a sacrifice, but for a testimony between us and you. Never shall it happen to us that we rebel against the Lord, or that we forsake the Lord today, building an altar for a burnt offering, meat offering, or sacrifice, outside the altar of the Lord our God, which is before his tabernacle. And when Phinehas the priest, and the princes of the congregation, and the heads of the thousands of Israel, who were with them, heard the words which the children of Reuben, and the children of Gad, and the children of Manasseh had spoken, it seemed good in your eyes. And Phinehas the son of Eleazar the priest said to the children of Reuben, and to the children of Gad, and to the children of Manasseh, today we know that the Lord is among us, because you have not transgressed against the Lord, now you have delivered the children of Israel from the hand of the Lord. And Phinehas the son of Eleazar the priest, with the princes, leaving the children of Reuben, and the children of Gad, returned from the land of Gilead to the land of Canaan, to the children of Israel, and brought them the answer. And the answer seemed good in the eyes of the children of Israel, and the children of Israel praised God, and they no longer spoke of going up to war against them in an army, to destroy the land where the children of Reuben and the children of Gad dwelt. And the children of Reuben and the children of Gad named the altar-ed, that it may be a witness among us that the Lord is God. Joshua 23. And it came to pass, many days after the Lord had given Israel rest from all their enemies round about, and Joshua being old and advanced in years. And Joshua called all Israel, its elders, and its heads, and its judges, and its officers, and said to them, I am old and advanced in years. And you have seen all that the Lord your God has done to all these nations for your sakes, for the Lord your God has fought for you. Behold, I have allotted you these nations that are left as an inheritance to your tribes, as well as the nations that I have destroyed, from Jordan to the great sea to the setting of the sun. And the Lord your God will drive them away, and drive them out from before you, and you shall possess his land, as the Lord your God promised you. Take great pains therefore to keep and to do all that is written in the book of the law of Moses, so that you do not depart from it, either to the right or to the left, lest you enter among these nations that are still with you, and make no mention of the names of their gods, neither swear by them, nor serve them, nor bow down to them. But to the Lord your God you will cleave, as you have done until this day. For the Lord drove out great and mighty nations before you, and as for you, no one has been able to resist you to this day. One man among you shall chase 1,000, for it is the Lord your God who fights for you, as he has already spoken to you. Therefore diligently guard your souls, to love the Lord your God. For if you go astray at all, and cling to the remnant of these nations that are left among you, and become related to them, and you go into them, and they to you, surely know that the Lord your God will not continue to drive these nations out before you, but they will be a snare and a net to you, a whip on your sides and thorns in your eyes, until you perish from this good land which the Lord your God has given you. And behold, I go this day in the way of all the earth, and you know in all your heart and in all your soul that not one word has failed out of all the good things that the Lord your God spoke about you. All have come upon you, none of them has failed. And it shall come to pass, that as all these good things have come upon you, which the Lord your God has spoken to you, so the Lord will bring all those evil things upon you, until he has destroyed you from off the good land which the Lord your God has given you. When you transgress the covenant of the Lord your God, which he commanded you, and go and serve other gods, and worship them, then the anger of the Lord will be kindled against you, and you will immediately perish from the good land which he has given you. Joshua 24. Then Joshua gathered all the tribes of Israel to Shechem, and he called the elders of Israel, and their heads, and their judges, and their officers, and they presented themselves before God. Then Joshua said to all the people, Thus says the Lord God of Israel, Beyond the river your fathers dwelt of old, Terah, the father of Abraham and the father of Nahor, and served other gods. I, however, took your father Abraham from beyond the river and made him walk through all the land of Canaan. I also multiplied his offspring and gave him Isaac. And to Isaac I gave Jacob and Esau, and I gave Mount Seir to Esau to possess it, but Jacob and his sons went down to Egypt. So I sent Moses and Aaron and smote Egypt, as I did among them, and then I took you out. And when I brought your fathers out of Egypt, you came to the sea, and the Egyptians pursued your fathers with chariots and horsemen to the Red Sea. And they cried to the Lord, who put a darkness between you and the Egyptians, and brought the sea upon them, and covered them, and your eyes saw what I did in Egypt. Afterward you dwelt in the desert many days. Then I brought you into the land of the Amorites, who dwelt beyond Jordan, who fought against you, but I delivered them into your hand, and you possessed their land, and I destroyed them from before you. And Balak the son of Zippor, king of Moab, arose and fought against Israel, and he sent for Balaam the son of Beor to curse you. But I wouldn't listen to Balaam, therefore he blessed you greatly, and I delivered you out of his hand. And when you crossed Jordan, and came to Jericho, the inhabitants of Jericho fought against you, the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Girgashites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, but I delivered them into your hands. And I sent hornets before you, which drove them out before you, like the 2 kings of the Amorites, not with your sword or with your bow. And I gave you the land that you did not labor for, and cities that you did not build, and you dwell in them and eat from the vineyards and olive groves that you did not plant. Now therefore fear the Lord, and serve him in sincerity and truth, and put away the gods which your fathers served beyond the river and in Egypt, and serve the Lord. But if serving the Lord is evil in your eyes, choose today whom you will serve, whether to the gods which your fathers served which were beyond the river, or to the gods of the Amorites, in whose land you dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Then the people answered and said, Let it never happen to us that we forsake the Lord to serve other gods. For the Lord is our God, he it is who brought us and our fathers up out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage, and who performed these great signs in our eyes, and kept us in all the way that we went, and among all the peoples through whom we passed. And the Lord drove out all these peoples from before us, even the Amorite who inhabited the land. We too will serve the Lord, for he is our God. Then Joshua said to the people, You cannot serve the Lord, for he is a holy God, he is a jealous God, who will not forgive your transgression nor your sins. If you forsake the Lord and serve other gods, then he will turn and do you harm and consume you after he has done you good. Then the people said to Joshua, No, rather we will serve the Lord. And Joshua said to the people, You are witnesses against yourselves that you chose the Lord to serve him. And they said, We are witnesses. Now therefore put away the strange gods that are among you, and incline your heart to the Lord God of Israel. And the people said to Joshua, We will serve the Lord our God, and obey his voice. So that day Joshua made a covenant with the people, and set them a statute and a rite in Shechem. And Joshua wrote these words in the book of the law of God, and he took a great stone, and set it up there under the oak which was by the sanctuary of the Lord. And Joshua said unto all the people, Behold, this stone shall be unto us a testimony, for it hath heard all the words which the Lord hath spoken unto us, and it shall also be a witness against you, that you lie not to your God. So Joshua sent the people, each one to his inheritance. And after these things it came to pass, that Joshua, the son of Nun, the servant of the Lord, died, being 110 years old. And they buried him in the border of his inheritance, in Timnath-serah, which is in the mountain of Ephraim, to the north of the mountain of Gash. So Israel served the Lord all the days of Joshua, and all the days of the elders who survived a long time after Joshua, and who knew all the works that the Lord had done for Israel. And the bones of Joseph, which the children of Israel had brought up out of Egypt, were buried in Shechem, in that part of the field which Jacob had bought from the children of Hamor, Shechem's father, for 100 pieces of silver, and which had become the inheritance of the children of Joseph. And Eleazar the son of Aaron died, and they buried him in the hill of Phinehas his son, which was given him in the mountain of Ephraim. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our channel, leave your like, and make a comment.